If you've got a pond, you definitely know the feeling. That moment you look out and see, well, something new growing in the water. Is it a good thing? A bad thing? Today, we're going to figure that out together. So that's the big question, isn't it? Whether it's just a little bit of a green tint or these thick, kind of soupy mats, what's actually going on in that little ecosystem of yours? Well, it turns out just being able to identify what you're looking at is the first and most important step. And this is exactly why it's so critical. Seriously, before we dive any deeper, let's get real for a second. This safety warning is no joke. Some of these algae blooms can be genuinely dangerous, especially for our pets. So the big takeaway here is knowing what you're looking at isn't just about having a pretty pond, it's about keeping everyone safe. Okay, with that in mind, let's kick things off with the villains of our story. We're going to break down the 3 most common nuisance algae that you absolutely want to be on the lookout for. Let's meet the suspects. First up is public enemy number 1, blue-green algae. Now here's a wild fact for you. Despite the name, this isn't even technically algae. Nope, it's actually a type of bacteria called Cyanobacteria. It's the stuff that forms that classic nasty-looking scum that looks like someone spilled paint. And yeah, it can produce toxins that are seriously harmful. It also blocks out the sun, which can cause a huge drop in oxygen and really endanger your fish. This is the one you really need to watch out for. Next up, we have a super common one, filamentous algae, or what pretty much everyone calls string algae. It looks just like it sounds, these long kind of hair-like strands that all wave together into these thick floating mats. Now the good news? It's not toxic. The bad news? Oh, it grows incredibly fast and can totally take over, turning your beautiful pond into a tangled green mess and just throwing the whole ecosystem out of whack. And finally, the culprit behind that classic pea soup look, green pond algae. This stuff is made of millions of tiny microscopic cells just floating around, turning the whole pond that murky green color. While it's not directly harmful like cyanobacteria, a big bloom is basically a giant flashing sign that your pond has way too many nutrients, and that's a problem you're going to have to deal with. Okay, enough about the villains. It's time to change gears, because not all algae are bad. In fact, some of them are absolutely essential for a healthy, thriving pond. So let's introduce the heroes of our microscopic world. And our number 1 hero is the diatom. These incredible little single-celled organisms are the absolute foundation of a healthy aquatic food web. You might notice them as a light brown dusting in the spring. What they do is take up all those excess nutrients, the same stuff that feeds the bad algae, and they turn it into food and oxygen. They're the base of the whole food chain, feeding tiny creatures called zooplankton, which, by the way, your fish love to eat. And just to really understand how important these diatoms are, look at this number. It's just staggering. Get this. Diatoms are responsible for producing up to half, that's right, 50% of all the oxygen we breathe. Not just in the pond, but on the entire planet. It's a pretty powerful reminder that these tiny things in our backyard are part of a massive system that keeps us all alive. They are true microscopic superheroes. All right, let's move on to our next hero. This is Nutella. It looks a whole lot like a plant, with these soft branching arms growing under the water. And its benefit is twofold. First, it creates the perfect little home for insects that become a natural snack for your fish. And second, it helps lock down the gunk on the bottom, which really helps clear up the water. And meet Chara, which is kind of like Nutella's close cousin. It looks super similar, but it's got a couple unique tells. It feels gritty when you touch it, and it has this distinct musky smell. But just like Nutella, it's a fantastic little ecosystem engineer, providing both food and stability for your pond. So, we've met the heroes and the villains. It's this constant battle happening right there in your pond. Let's do a quick recap of the key players so you can spot them like a pro. This table pretty much sums it all up. Just take a quick look. On the harmful side, you're looking for that green paint look of blue-green, the hair-like mats of filamentous, and that murky water from green pond algae. And on the good side, you're looking for that brown dusting of diatoms or the plant-like structures of Nutella and Chara. It really is all about spotting those key identifiers. So, now that you can tell them apart, the big question is, how do you influence the outcome of this battle? How do you give the good guys the upper hand? Well, turns out, you can actively help the heroes win. And this is where something like no-algae ponds comes into play. Now, what's really important to get here is that this is not an algicide that just kills everything. Instead, think of it like a booster shot for the heroes we just talked about. It's a natural formula made specifically to fuel the growth of those beneficial diatoms.
And here's exactly how it works, step by step. First, you add new algae to the pond. It provides the one special ingredient that diatoms need to build their tiny glass-like shells, silica. This kicks off a bloom of the good guys. Then, these diatoms get to work, basically gobbling up all the excess nutrients, the stuff the harmful algae needs to grow. So the bad guys are literally starved out, and the end result is a naturally clear, balanced pond.
And hey, here's a fantastic pro tip for you. Timing is everything. You want to give those diatoms a head start before the bad guys can really take hold. So you'll want to start your treatment as soon as the water temperature is consistently hitting 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Do that, and you're setting yourself up for a great season.
So, as we start to wrap this up, I want to leave you with a bit of a shift in perspective. The goal was never to have a completely sterile algae-free pond. I mean, that's not natural at all. The real goal is actually way more interesting. A truly healthy pond is alive. It's a vibrant, balanced ecosystem where the heroes, the diatoms, the good insects, the healthy fish, are simply out competing the troublemakers. Your job isn't to wipe out life. It's to cultivate the right kind of life.
And that really just leaves us with one final question. Instead of constantly fighting a war against your pond with a bunch of harsh chemicals, are you ready to become its ally? To actually work with nature to create a beautiful, clear, and truly living ecosystem? It's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.